Right back there is a little cove, a little creek, a little ditch with a lot of lay down logs and brush. It's destination central for crappie as they seek a place to spawn in shallow water. The next couple of weeks is going to represent the best time to go out and catch some of America's favorite table fare fish, the white or the black crappie. On this week's show, we're going to go out on Lake Waco in Central Texas and give you all the information you need to catch some of your very own. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
Boy, it is my favorite time of the year, springtime. It's everybody's favorite when it comes to fishing. Why is that? It's because all those fish that have been way out there in deep water all winter long are now migrating by their instinctive pull of the warmer surface temperatures towards shallow water, headed for their spawn. And when they do that, they are much more accessible, much more aggressive, and much easier for you to catch. Hi everybody, welcome into today's show. And on an overcast day, we're gonna go out and do some of my favorite kind of fishing. When I go fishing just for fun, when there's no television camera around, no competition, when I'm alone, I go crappie fishing, and that's what we're going to do. In the next half hour, I hope to give you some principles and information that will help you go out the next few weekends while those fish are shallow and catch a basket full of crappie for your dinner table. While I'm doing that, we're taking you around your local region, your favorite lakes, rivers, and bays for your weekly fishing report from our team of insider reporters. Hey, this is gonna be a lot of fun. Don't go anywhere, settle in, and let's get it started right now at the FSN Studios with your weekend planner.
According to the Salunar Tables, fishing conditions this weekend are going to be outstanding. Saturday is expected to have some of the best action of the month. Sunday is also anticipated to have excellent game fish activity, with the best action starting at 11:23 a.m. Sunrise will take place at 6:54, with sunset occurring at 7:59. And we'll have a new moon on Saturday. Stay with us. All of your fishing updates from around the region are on the way. And I'll return with Keith Combs on this week's Ask the Pro with a question about lure colors.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And by Aransas Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
There's one right here. Oh, he's around my motor for a second. Oh, there we go. There's a crappie. Come aboard, buddy. All right. Hey, everybody. We've made it out. And I've got one right there. And if I were keeping them, that would be the first keeper going in the live well, filleted for my dinner table right there, but I'm not keeping them today because I've got a bunch of crappie in the live well already. Let me get you set up. You know, I always tell you that the most important factor to any kind of fishing is always what? Just like real estate, location, location, location. So let's talk about where the crappie are. They're transitioning out of that deep water. As I said at the beginning, they're going to be moving into bays, the mouths of creeks, and the mouths of rivers. What they like to do is find flat areas in anywhere from 6 to 10 feet of water, and they'll just sit there, warm up. As these days get warmer and warmer throughout the spring, their eggs will ripen. Then they'll move all the way back in these creeks. I think I got one hung up right there. They'll move all the way back in these creeks and they'll spawn right up against the bank, almost like a bass does. They'll make a nest, female lays the eggs, male comes in behind and fertilizes them. The beds they make are about the size of maybe a trash can lid, something in that range. But that's what the crappie are headed towards doing. Now, in the south part of our region, the warmer it's been, they may already be spawning. Middle part of the region, headed that direction. Further north you go, the cooler the water is, the deeper the fish are still going to be. So you've got to get in these areas where they're headed towards spawning. Type of place we're sitting right now, the mouth of a creek, flats on both sides. You don't want a steep channel on both sides. You want to be up on the flats. You want to be 6 to 10 feet of water. Location, location, location gets crappie in the boat for you. We've got one in the boat. Let's get with Gary Dallahan in Oklahoma, see what's going on with your fishing reports from there.
Hey, Oklahoma's Lake Eufaula is impressive in size and in its fishing. And you know, when a lake that size comes up 3 or 4 feet, you know a lot of water has run into it. That's what's happened at Lake Eufaula at this time, but the fishing is good for both bass and crappie. Now, George Tolson spent a few days there. He said the bass fishing has been really good, catching some big old bass, 5 and 6 pounders, a lot of 3s and 4s. Now, he said if you're fishing the dirtier water, that your best luck is coming on the bigger blade spinner baits, 2 to 3 feet deep. If you're fishing the clearer areas such as Longtown and even clearer when you go through the chute down toward the Porum area, that your best luck is fishing the chunk rock baits that have a little deep water close by, but fishing what used to be the shoreline before the lake has come up, so that's about 4 to 6 feet deep. He said the best success in fishing those type of areas have been on a jig and a watermelon type color, and then also the biffle bug on a hardhead. And again, the dark watermelon pepper variations and the biffle bug are working well on Eufaula at this time. Water temps there low to mid 60-degree range. Crappie fishing in Eufaula, good reports coming in from the Gaines Creek area. That water is off color there. A lot of fish are being caught super shallow, and best bait seems to be the bigger baits like the Bobby Garland 3-inch slab slayer, doing really well on Lake Eufaula at this time, especially in the black and hot pink colors and in electric chicken colors. When you get down into that Gaines Creek area, you can kind of go to some of those little cuts, fish from the start of the cut all the way to the back of it, fishing shallow for those crappie. Great time to be on Lake Eufaula, but one thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
There's one right there. Got him. Got him on my long rod. Got him. Not a big one, but a good keeper crappie nonetheless. All right, we're catching a few today. That's just a good, 10 and a half, 11-inch crappie. Just a good solid eating fish. Of course, here in Texas, the crappie have to be 10 inches long, and you can keep 25 per person per day. And that would just be a good solid eating fish. We're gonna let that fish go back. When these fish are in transition like this and they're not tight to brush, I want to cover a lot of water. So what I've got here is I've got 2 rod holders set up. They'll each hold 4 rods, but I'm actually only using 2 rods in each one. I've got a 14-foot on the front and an 11-foot rod on the back. They've got bait cast reels on them, hold a lot of line. Now, the first fish you saw me catch, I was doing something called longlining, which means I was actually letting a lot of line go back behind the boat, about 30 feet of line behind the boat, and I'm keeping steady speed about 1 mile an hour and keeping those jigs floating through the water. Now, what I've done right now is I've actually caught a couple of fish right here on this little flat bank. I'll show it to you later. But I've stopped the boat and I've let my rods go straight down, and that's called spider rigging. I've slowed way down. I'm at 0.1, 0.2 miles an hour. I'm just barely easing along here. And those jigs are just floating about a foot off the bottom. And you've got 14-foot, 11, and then I've got 11 and 14 on the other side. So I'm covering a 28-foot path with 4 rods, 4 jigs down, 4 times the opportunity to get a bite. You can put a whole bunch of rods out, but I'll tell you, 4 rods is about all I can handle right there. All right, it's time now for some more fishing and lake reports. Let's go to Louisiana with Cajun Phil and Kevin.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here for your Fox Sports Louisiana Outdoor Report. We're talking saltwater fishing. Talk to some of our guide buddies in southeast corner of the state, Hopedale area, Delacroix, all the way down to Bill Lake. I tell you what, they're catching lots of trout, lots of redfish, soft plastics on 1/8 and 1/4 ounce jig heads. We've been rigging, and they're also rigging the paddle tail or the ball tail K-wigglers on 1/8 and 1/4 ounce Rockport Rattler jig heads, except for your redfish. They're throwing the paddle tail and casting it out towards the shoreline and steady reeling. If the water's off, they'll put a cork on it. For the trout, they're catching those in about 3 to 7 foot of water. Same thing, 1/8 or 1/4 ounce light jig head. They're throwing both the ball tail and the paddle tail K-wiggler. They said the red and white, the avocado, and a chartreuse tail, and of course a bone diamond. Tell you what, you can't go wrong.
Thanks, Captain Kevin. I tell you what, friends, last week I told you there were a few places where they were catching some bass and some white perch, you know. One of the better places is down around Houma, Louisiana, that hasn't got as near as much rain as we have. All the bayous, you know, the backwaters back there, they're catching bass, they're catching white perch, and of course, the same bayous, you can also catch redfish right now. So there's pretty good fishing, bass fishing down around Houma, Louisiana. Also around Lake Charles, Louisiana, there's the Lacassine Reserve. They're not catching anything really big, but they're catching a lot of 2 to 3 pound bass. They're catching them on long plastic worms with a very light slip sinker, also on the frog. They're throwing that frog across the top of that marsh and then blowing it up. Lacassine Reserve is also a good place to go if you want to catch brim and chickapit.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Luz, setting a new standard of fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And by Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
There's one. Boy, this is pulling hard. This is probably not a crappie right here. He's pulling too hard. Look at him bowing my ultralight. Yeah, it's pretty nice. White bass right there. Well, there's a bonus for you, everybody. Welcome back. We're actually crappie fishing today, but there is a spawning little female white bass right there. We'll let that fish go back, and I want to explain something to you. You know, people get the idea that crappie fishing is all about fishing real tight to brush and dabbling straight up and down in it, fishing brush piles, fishing trees, that kind of thing. I want to tell you something about the crappie this time of the year. They don't have to be on anything. They can be on a slick bank. I want to show you behind me here. I've caught several fish, some crappie and some white bass both, right along this smooth bank. The way you catch these fish, you just get inside the mouth of a creek, like we talked about, location. You find 6 or 8 feet of water on a flat off the creek channel. Then you sit out in the little bit deeper water, you throw up on the flat, and I love to fish this little ultralight rig. This is my little Wally Marshall Signature Series rod and reel combination. Let that little lead head Bobby Garland baby shad go to the bottom, and then you just kind of ease it back. You lift your rod tip, you take up the slack, lift your rod tip, take up the slack, and you're actually just swimming that bait through these flats. And again, these fish are in transition. Ultimately, they are going to get up in that brush and make a nest and lay eggs and all that kind of thing. But when they're on their way in and when they're on their way out, you can catch a lot of fish. You saw me talking earlier about these spider rigs, these rod holders that I've got where you can cover a lot of water. And then once you locate where some fish are, and we've caught several fish off this little slick flat right here, you can stop the boat, pick up your little ultralight, make several casts, and sometimes catch several in one spot once you find out what they're doing. But the key here is that you do not have to be up in brush, tight to brush, or around any kind of structure or cover. These fish will just get out and roam, and they're just swimming their way up toward these creeks where they're going to spawn. All right, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your local lakes, rivers, and bays. Let's hear from Brian Hughes.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you by the 11th annual Legend of Lake Fork Big Bass Tournament, who would like to remind you that all makes, models of boat are welcome. Now they're paying out 8 places each hour each day, and there are 5 legend boats up for grabs. Now this week we're here at Lake Ray Hubbard, where the sand bass fishing is really taken off. You'll catch them on the main lake points and near the creek mouths on blade baits, rattle traps, or your road runners. Now over at Lake Fork, the bass fishermen have been doing well on the black bass, as to be expected, but they're also catching crappie in the shallows on half-ounce spinner baits. Now, if you want to catch those crappies, I would suggest either a road runner or a beetle spin or some other small crappie-sized type bait, and they're up in the shallows about 1 foot to 3 feet deep. And finally, Lake Ray Roberts recently gave up a new lake record of over 15 pounds with guide Danny Golden and his client. That tells me bass fishing's pretty good at Ray Roberts. And Danny tells me that you can use Senkos up in the shallows from about 1 to about 8 feet deep. Now the way that works is to either weightless rig a Senko in the normal Texas rig style fashion and fish it from 1 to 3 feet, wacky worm it from about 1 to 4 feet, and then put a little split shot about 18 inches above the bait to get it down from the 3 to 4 foot range out to about 6 feet deep. That'll catch you some nice big Ray Roberts bass. That's been this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the 11th annual Legend of Lake Fork Big Bass Tournament, May 15, 16, and 17. Now, let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. You'll find him on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, if forecasts are correct, this weekend should mark the point when fishing should start to gather some serious momentum. Cold fronts that carry a real drop in temperature are history, and fronts that now arrive will be more of a wind direction change. Throughout the balance of April and into May, look for anglers to play the wind. Wind direction will dictate where to fish. On the upper coast on Sabine, that could be well in the marshes on the Louisiana side from Mid-Lake southward to Blue Buck Point. In Galveston, look for fishing around Bolivar and the Texas City Dike to heat up. Either side of San Luis Pass into Chocolate Bay will see increased bait and game fish. Christmas and Bass Drop Bays are other good options. East Matagorda anglers will fish the mid-bay reefs or wade fish the south shoreline on windy days. Those fishing West Matagorda and out of Port O'Connor will use Matagorda Island or Peninsula as protection. The back lake areas have produced when tides have been high. Now, San Antonio Bay reefs are starting to produce. Mesquite and Ayers Bays are also seeing some good fish for those wading the shorelines and scattered reefs. The Lydia Ann Channel to Mud Island, Stedman's, Dagger, and East Flats have been good for those fishing for trout and reds. Solid fish are coming from Peta Island all the way southward, all the way through the land cut. Bars out in front of Port Isabel have given up trout on live and artificial bait fished under a popping cork. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Introducing the XI5 for ultimate boat control. By Fort Worth Nissan. Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get right to your Ask the Pro question for this week. Paul wants to know, what lure colors work best in muddy water? For the answer, we asked Bassmaster Elite Angler Keith Combs.
Really, my top 3 colors for muddy water, I'm always going to have something based in white, especially if I'm throwing a moving bait, spinner bait, crankbait, something like that. I'm always going to have a shad pattern, and I'm always going to have something in a crawfish pattern, like a red or brown, and then the old standby, black and blue.
Thank you, Keith. If you want some help from one of the pros, go to foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now it's time for someone to win a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Each and every week, one of you wins a free pair of Costa sunglasses in our Costa Catch of the Week contest. This week, our winner is Daniel Gregory of Houston, Texas. He's modeling a 10-pound largemouth bass he caught at Tiny Lake Raven in Huntsville State Park in Texas. And as a bonus, we've got another big Lake Raven bass from Carl Engstrom of Huntsville, Texas, showing an 8-pound, 2-ounce largemouth bass caught in that same lake. If you would like to have a chance to win a pair of Costa sunglasses, go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. On the right-hand side of that front page is the Costa Catch of the Week box. Click in that, follow the instructions, and you could be our next winner. You can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles. Just go back to that front page of our website, click on the Costa logo, and you can see all of them there, including the frame style I was wearing on this week's episode. It's called Luke. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, it's the right gear if you'd like to do some long lining and spider rigging like you saw us doing today. It's done all across the Southeast very effectively. And it really begins with a long crappie pole. This is the Lew's Wally Marshall Troll Tech series. Comes in several lengths. I start with a 14-footer and then work my way shorter in the rod holder like I described earlier. Now I've got the reel spooled up with the brand new Strand Crappie Mono. It's brand new fishing line on the market this year from Strand, specially made for crappie anglers. It's got the abrasion resistance. It's an extra small diameter. It comes in both a clear and a high-vis gold color so you can detect those strikes. It is the best crappie line that's ever been formulated up until this point. Strand Crappie Mono. Look for it on your tackle store shelf. Now to do this long lining and spider rigging today, I was using a Bobby Garland Baby Shad Swimmer. It's got a little swim tail on it for great swimming action as you're pulling it through the water. Had it rigged up on a little Moglo jig head, also by Bobby Garland. And here's a very important tip. If you're going to use these long rods, you're going to need a net, and not just any net. This is a great Stowmaster net, but it's got a long handle where you can reach out on those 11 to 14 foot poles. Our partners here on the television show at Lou's Fishing are trying to make something really good out of something really bad that happened in Springfield, Missouri. A member of the Springfield Police Department, Aaron Pearson, was shot in the line of duty while he was investigating a burglary. He was shot by a bad guy. Now, he is currently recuperating and recovering, and it looks like he will be able to recover. But his friends at Lou's Fishing are trying to help out his family with the medical expenses that he's incurring during his rehab. They're giving away lots of great prizes in a raffle, including a brand new 2015 fully rigged boat. They're also giving away some great fishing trips, some rods, reels, tackle, all kinds of great gear. Now you can get all the information on our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Right on the front page, you'll see the little article there under latest news. You can watch my video that gives you some more details, and you can go straight to the website at officerpearson.com where you can buy raffle tickets. You'll be helping out a great family, a great cause for the Springfield Police Department, Officer Pearson, and you'll also have a chance to win some fantastic prizes. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip today to Lake Waco, Texas. We just used it as a test tube to show you how to catch some of these spring transition crappie that are headed up toward their spawning grounds right now. Some of these crappie in your neck of the woods may already be spawning right up against the bank. You can use these techniques anywhere across the southeast and southwest. Hey, don't forget to join us for next week's episode. We'll be on at a regular time of 10:30 p.m. on Thursday night, followed by a repeat airing Saturday morning at 7:30. And you can always see the latest episode of our show 24/7 right on the front page of our website. And very important, right under that, you can see all of our past episodes, lots of how-to and product videos as well on our video page. Be sure to follow us on the Twitter feed. Almost every week we're giving away some great gear. You can only win it if you're on Twitter following our feed, the address you see on your screen. Until next week, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, guys.